welcome to Wellness Insights with Dr. Chalmers. I'm Dr. Chalmers. So, a lot of people have been asking me, hey, when I can't come see you or I live in a different state or whatever, how do I choose a doctor, that's going to help me get where I want to go and do the things I want to do? That's really hard. It's really hard to find. It's really hard to answer that question even because I don't know what your goals are. So, when I work with people and we sit and we talk and I kind of counsel them on different things and I figure out what their goals are and what they need and things like that, it does become easier because I know what they want, I know what they need. So just making it kind of easier, let me kind of explain what I would do, what I look for in doctors to work with, and doctors to take care of my own family. So a lot of it is who this person is, man, woman, it doesn't really matter. Who they are, how they make their decisions. I like to ask docs a lot of questions, and I'm specifically looking for them to say, I don't know. It's important to me that a doctor is willing to say, I don't know, because if someone's willing to say, I don't know, that means that they're going to be honest with me. One of the hardest things that comes out of a doctor's mouth, because everyone goes to a doctor for answers. If the doctor doesn't have answers, how useful are they? They're not. And so a lot of doctors will, well, for lack of a better term, they'll lie. They come up and you ask them a question, they don't know the answer, and they'll guess. And sometimes you don't know if they're guessing or if they know. And so when a doctor will admit that they don't know something, that's a big piece for me. I want to hear that out of their mouth. The other thing is that I don't want them beholden to any one system. I know a lot of doctors who are horribly against medical drugs. And I understand the hesitancy. Medical drugs are extremely powerful. They all have major negatives. And a lot of people are way overusing them, abusing them, and they're expensive. And they're all sorts of bad things. However, they're really, really, really helpful. I mean, God, if you just look how many lives antibiotics have saved, it's really hard to say that we shouldn't be using them at a very high level. Now, should we be using them at the level we're using them? No, we shouldn't. We're way overusing them. But antibiotics are a miracle. They're phenomenal at what they do. They're unbelievably awesome. Steroids are awesome as well. I have a giant respect for Medrol or Prednisone. The things it can do short term are just spectacular. It's really a bad idea to take long term. It does all kinds of terrible things to you. I don't think I need to tell everybody how much I love what injectable testosterone can do. It is spectacular. It's the healing hormone. It makes everything in your life better. So there's a lot of them that are good. A healthy mix of both is always good. But the idea that pharmaceuticals fix all, I don't like that in any practitioner. Just like I said, neither do I like somebody who says no drugs ever. The idea that I always look for somebody who looks towards physiology. What does your body need? Are you sleeping well? Is your mental space where it's supposed to be? Have you worried about your psychological mental health? What are you doing to relax and decrease stress? What are you eating? When are you sleeping? How much sleep are you getting? Are you drinking water? All the things that work. Are you taking your supplementation so your nutritional levels where they're supposed to be? These are all things that should play in. And I'm not saying that the doctor has to know all these. I know a lot of medical doctors who have really started to pick up the idea of that chemistry is more than just drugs, and they've hired nutritionists. They've hired health coaches. They've partnered with chiropractors. They've partnered with people who have a different idea, who bring other skills to the table. And these guys are phenomenal. I love these guys. We work together. I work with these guys all the time. And it's funny because these are the same guys who are willing to say, I don't know. Ask this person. Because we work as a team now. If you come in and you ask about diet, I have a lot of medical doctors who will give you my number. If you ask about surgery, I'm going to give you their number. I don't know how to do surgery. I don't want to know how to do surgery. I know when to send you to the surgeon, and I know when to send you, to get medical drugs. And that's the way that I like to practice. So that's what I'm going to try to find. If I find a need, you've got a massive yeast overgrowth. You know what? We could do this in 6 months with black cumin seed and all sorts of different anti-yeasts and things like that, or we could do it in 3 weeks with diflucan. I mean, if that works better and faster and cheaper, why would we not do that? So that's kind of the thing that I look for in a doctor. Now, one of the other things you can do, because it's really hard to just kind of sit down and interrogate someone that you might want to be your doctor, is look at them. There's a lot of doctors who try to tell you that they have a mastery of the human body and they're 100 pounds overweight or they smoke. You want that guy or that woman making medical decisions about your health if they don't understand how to fix their own body? Because think about it. If they're 100 pounds overweight, do you think they wake up every morning and go, loving this body? This was my plan. I planned on being so fat, my belly hang over my belt. That was my goal since I was 6. I doubt it. I mean, maybe they do. We all have weird things. Maybe that's their thing. I doubt it, though. I mean, if you're a doctor and your whole premise, your whole business, your whole life, everything about you is supposed to be wrapped around the fact that you understand how the body works and you can help manipulate that body to get the best health, best outcome, best results, and you're 100 pounds, 50 pounds, 35, 40 pounds overweight, over fat, sorry, I don't think you know what you're talking about. Because I guarantee you that if you're 50 pounds overweight or 35 pounds overweight, if you really knew how the body worked and you really had a handle on it and you really could get the body to do what you wanted it to do, you wouldn't be that fat. I don't know. I realize how horrible that sounds. It sounds like I'm fat shaming. And maybe I am to a degree. But doctors shouldn't be fat if they're good at what they do. I mean, everyone talks about how obesity is a major health risk. Everybody talks about how you should be in shape to be healthy, to have a long-term health risk, to avoid long-term health risks. Even with COVID, I think we've all been set down and we all know the term comorbidity now. We all know how bad obesity is. I think we all knew beforehand, but now there's no doubt. We know exactly how bad that is. So if you go to your doctor and your doctor's overweight, I'm not talking about like they're soft. I'm not talking about like they need to get in the gym and tone their muscle up. I'm talking about like they're rounder than they should be. They're, they have Dunlap going on. Their belly Dunlapped over their belt, that type of an idea. We need to have a serious look at this and be like, is this the best person for me? So I'm not saying that that's a definitive marker that everybody has to have a six-pack, but at the other side, it is something that I look at. Now, I know doctors who need to lose 20, 30 pounds, but they're also good at what they do. So that's not my only determining factor. However, it's a big one for me because it shows me a couple different things. One, it shows me knowledge of how the physiological body functions. 2, it shows me dedication to health and wellness. And 3, it shows me how much they care about themselves. Because if you know what you're doing, you understand the ramifications of what's going on, and you care about yourself, then you're going to find the time to do what you need to do. And a lot of the time, you don't have to add any extra time in to being lean versus being fat. You just have to change what goes in your mouth. So people will say, well, I don't have time to go to the gym. Do you have time to eat? You obviously have time to eat. Just change what goes in your mouth. And that'll do tremendous amounts. So, and that's kind of where that is. So, I realize how horrible that sounds, but that's where it is. So that's the other idea that I look at is why we use the drugs that we use. So I'm not actually against vaccines. I think that they're fantastic when used properly, but I also don't think that every human being born needs every single vaccine that we've ever created. One of the ones that irritates me the most is the one that we give in the hospital. Hep B. Hep B is terrible. Hep B is not a good thing to have. You do not want Hep B. I don't want anybody to sit here and think that I'm saying that Hep B is not that big of a deal. Hep B is a big deal. We don't want it. You got to get rid of it. You got to fix it. You got to test for it. You got to get rid of it. It's bad. Having said that, it is a sexually transmitted disease. So you get it through sex, unprotected sex, and you get it from dirty needles. So if couple comes together, make a baby. Woman's pregnant for several months, 7+ months. Some babies come early. 7+ months. If you were tested at conception or a month after their conception happened, and husband and wife do not have Hep B, unless the wife or the husband starts cheating on the other person, acquires Hep B, then passes it to the pregnancy, to the mother, they're not going to have Hep B when the baby's born. So there's no need to give the baby a vaccine for Hep B because the mother didn't have it when the baby was born. The father didn't have it when the baby was born. And unless you're expecting that baby to have a lot of unprotected sex before the age of 5 or do a whole lot of dirty needles before the age of 5, baby doesn't need Hep B shot. Doesn't have the disease, can't get the disease. So why are we giving a drug for the disease? Outside of, well, that's just what we do. And, well, we'd like the $1,000 that the insurance pays us for shooting this into your kid. Neither one of those are a good enough reason to give a drug. Now, on the other side of that, let's say that some person, obviously a woman, strolls into a hospital and says, hey, I'm in the ER. I live on the streets. No one's ever seen me before. Yeah, it's probably a pretty solid idea to give that child a Hep B shot because you have no clinical data on them. But the woman who's been coming to an OB-GYN's practice 3 times a month since pregnancy started, probably, if you don't have blood work on this person, if you've been seeing them the entire time they were pregnant and you don't have blood work on them, you're a horrible practitioner. How have you not done a single blood study on them? And if you do one blood study, just throw in Hep B. It's not the worst thing in the world to do. Find out the diseases that you're trying to prevent and treat. See if the person actually has it. And if they don't worry about it as much. So that's the issue. So I want to make sure that people say, well, I'm going to give you the drugs that you need. I'm going to give you the vaccines you need. I'm going to give you the medications you need. I'm going to give you the health advice you need. And you know what? I'm not the best at lifting weights, so I'm going to send you my friend Phil or my friend Rebecca or whoever down the street. They're going to help you out. And I'm not really the best at long-term wellness. I'm going to send you to Chalmers. That's his thing. And so this is now your health team. You can choose to go wherever you want, but this is my recommendation. Those are the docs that I like to work with. The people who understand that there's a team, people who understand that drugs are not the only answer, and people who understand that drugs are an answer. These are the guys I try to work with. We've been building a pretty solid network of these guys and women, obviously. Some of the best pediatricians I know are women. I actually know several really good surgeons who are women too. So that should, by the way, I don't know, I feel silly even having to say this, but from an experience, function, and an ability standpoint, you shouldn't have to choose whether you're not a man or a woman for your physician. On the other side of that, I totally understand the idea of like gynecological exams. Some women feel more comfortable with a woman. Get it? Any urological issues, I understand why some guys would either want a guy or want a woman for that. That doesn't play into any of the decisions that I make. So that might be something that if you ask me who to go see, that might be something you have to deal with on your own. But that's how I make my decisions is what are important to my goals. Do I want somebody who's going to, make the best drug decision for me, make the best supplement decision for me, give me information so I can make my own decisions. What are your goals? I want somebody who's going to listen to me. I am the odd duck out there. I do all my own research, and so I go in and I ask a lot of really terrible questions. I can't imagine being my doctor, but like I said, my guys are really, really good at it. So that's how I make the decision for me. And so that would be the way I would try to kind of give you guys the idea to look for your own doctor. If you have any other questions, hit us up, questions@chalmerswellness.com. Thanks.